Today's video message will try to address some of the questions that we have been receiving from many of you in relation to Board Policy PR 734, which of course pertains to vaccination disclosure and testing requirements of TDSB employees. Members will recall that in the late summer, the provincial government required all school boards in the province of Ontario to enact vaccination disclosure and testing policies for employees. ETFO consulted with legal counsel at the time regarding this provincial mandate and sought advice as to whether it was in violation of labour laws or any other applicable statutes and regulations. Given the severity of the COVID-19 pandemic, the length of the pandemic, the impact of the Delta variant, rising daily case counts, and the demonstrated effectiveness of vaccination in reducing one's chances of contracting COVID-19, it was deemed that it is not inappropriate for school boards to request information from staff regarding their COVID-19 vaccination status and to implement some form of testing for non-vaccinated staff, as well as for those who do not disclose within reasonable limits. Pursuant to requirements under the Occupational Health and Safety Act, the school board, as the employer, must take reasonable steps to maintain a safe working environment for all workers. And this includes measures to reduce the transmission of COVID-19 in the workplace. We continue to consult closely with ETFO as more details emerge about the specifics of the TDSB policy and how it will be implemented to ensure that the school board is compliant with, among other things, requirements in relation to members' privacy. The TDSB has always been required to maintain the privacy of employees in relation to personnel and other matters of a sensitive nature. And we will be vigilant to ensure that members' rights to privacy will be maintained as the board's policy is operationalized. As you're aware, the TDSB policy does require mandatory vaccination by November 1st for all employees. Currently, if an ETT member declines to disclose their vaccination status to the school board or advises the school board that they are unvaccinated, they will be required to undergo regular testing to confirm that they are not suffering from COVID-19. They are also required to participate in an education program on vaccines. In compliance with Ontario's Human Rights Code, the policy does have a provision that allows members to apply for an exemption from the policy on either religious or medical grounds. Given the policy compliance deadline of November 1st, members seeking an accommodation should not delay in applying for an exemption. Those who are seeking an exemption on religious grounds should direct their questions to the TDSB Human Rights Department, while members who are seeking an accommodation on medical grounds should contact the Disability Claims Administrator in Employee Services. If an ETT member refuses to undergo regular testing or to participate in the education program mandated by the policy, the board may take additional actions, which may include members being placed on unpaid leave or being subject to disciplinary action for failing to comply with school board and Ministry of Education policy. With the exception of those for whom an exemption has been approved, all employees are expected to be fully vaccinated by November 1st. At this time, we are unaware of what the next steps the board may pursue with members who are neither exempted nor vaccinated, but it is likely that one of three things may happen. Number one, the status quo will continue, namely that members will continue to furnish test results on an ongoing basis. Number two, members will be placed on an involuntary unpaid leave of absence. Or number three, that the board will pursue some form of disciplinary action for non-compliance with board and ministry policy. We will continue to monitor the situation in consultation with ETFO to determine next steps as more information becomes available. And of course, we will continue to share this information with you all. While I appreciate that these are unprecedented and stressful times for everyone, it is important that there is an understanding on the part of everyone that, subject to certain limitations under, for example, the Charter and the Ontario Human Rights Code, the TDSB does have the right to enact such policies subject to certain limitations, and that a failure by employees to follow those policies may have consequences. ETT will continue to advocate for our membership and to fulfill our responsibility to provide you with the fair representation, the support, advocacy, advice, and where necessary, the intervention that you require. Should you need such assistance, please reach out to the executive officer for your school, who will be able to answer your questions and provide you with additional support. Thanks for listening to this video, and I hope you all have a relaxing weekend.